questioning the tarot today. Sometimes we can get a little bit stuck in working with the tarot because we don't know how to formulate a good question or what we can ask, what we can't ask. So I'm hoping that this video will help clarify a lot of that and make working with the tarot a whole lot simpler. So the main things I'm looking at is how the question is asked, what can be asked, and what can't be asked. And then also going to be covering a couple of very basic foundational questions that you can then take and expand on and pretty much allocate them to almost anything. The book I'm working from and referencing is my Art of Tarot guidebook. It is available on the Mystic Store. I will drop a link to it in the post. So let's get started with how the question is asked, because that's probably the most important part of all of questioning the tarot is how are you asking the question. So the first thing to note is that your question should not be judgmental. So if you're asking for yourself or if you're reading for someone else, make sure that the question they're asking isn't heavily judgmental. So why is this person so ugly? Or, why did I mess that up? Make sure that you're kind of reining those questions back in and not asking from that judgmental perspective, but rather from a place of learning and having an experience and what can you gain from that experience. So instead of saying, why did I mess this up so badly? Ask the question, how can I do this better next time? Other things to note is that you can't put responsibility on the cards. And the cards are essentially there to give you insight and guidance, not to tell you what to do. So when you're formulating your questions, make sure that you're not handing your responsibility over to the cards and you're saying, what do I need to do with the situation? Must I change my job? Or what do I need to do to make this better? Rather look to have more of an insightful based question. So what options do I have available to me in my career? What can I learn from the current position that I'm in that I could maybe take into another position? Are there other opportunities open to me that would be more favorable? So instead of handing your responsibility over to the cards and making them make the decisions for you, use the cards as a resource to give you different perspectives and different insights for different options that are available to you. Keep your questions open. So don't be too narrow with your questions. Try and keep them more open-ended so that you're allowing room for potentials and possibilities. We live in a realm of infinite possibilities and potentials. And when you're limiting yourself to, should I take this job? Rather, what potential options do I have available to me? What would be well suited to my skill set? So have direction in your questions, but don't make them so direct and very specific of must fit inside this box. You also don't want to be too vague with your questions. You also don't want to be over detailed with your questions. In my 20 years of reading professionally, I've had so many people come to me and tell me their entire life story just to ask one single question. So if you have someone that you're reading for and this is what's going on, very gently say to them, I'm hearing everything that you're saying. What is it that you're looking for today? What are you needing today? What insight are you looking for today? If the question relates to a very long-winded story, try and rein it in as much as you can, because you don't need, if you have too much detail that you're looking at, your reading is going to be too big. You're going to be looking at too much information and it's too much information overload. You also don't want to, tell me about my career. What about your career? What would you like to know about your career? Do you want to change your career? Do you want to grow in your career? Is your career currently aligned to you? So finding that balance between being too vague and over detailed, it comes with a bit of practice, but it's going to help refine your readings a lot more for yourself and for other people. You also don't want to look at your questions from a negative or a positive perspective. So why did I mess this up? Why am I such a mess up? Why is my relationship so horrible? Why do I hate my partner? Or, why is my life all sunshine and daisies? And how can I find the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow? I'm obviously using some extreme examples here, But it's finding that balance between not being over cynical in your questions and not being sunshine and daisies in your questions. It's finding that perfect balance middle line. You also want to keep your questions fairly neutral and ask your questions from the present tense. What can I do right now? What do I need right now? What insights can I get right now? What's happening in my career? What's happening in my relationship? What's happening in this present moment? Because I know with tarot we get pretty fixed on, what's coming, what's in the future, what does my future hold? But understand that we create our future in the present moment. In this moment right now, you're literally creating your tomorrow. So ask your questions from the here and the now. So how you ask the question is going to help refine your readings so much more. Right. What can we actually ask the tarot? Essentially, we can ask the tarot absolutely anything. But we also want to have a bit of structure there. So anything that's relating to your authenticity, how to be a better person, your soul's journey, your life purpose, things like that. Asking for clarity on a specific situation or how you could best handle that situation or options for handling a situation. You can also ask for deeper insight and understanding into a question you've already asked, a specific situation. You can also ask questions on how can you make progress forward, how can you overcome obstacles or challenges. You can also do questions about how you can, like I say, better yourself. And then obviously questions for self-reflections. These are all things that you can ask about. Things that you can't ask about. Unethical questions, first and foremost. Avoid the unethical questions. So here I'm going into the realm of, don't ask the lottery numbers. Don't ask about, should I put my money on this horse? Questions that are stemming into the realm of looking and prying into other people's business. These are all unethical questions. And that being said on what we can't ask, looking at other people is a big no-no. Unless you have that person's permission to do a reading for them, you don't look at another person's business. That's not okay. What you can do is ask, how is this person affecting me? What role do I play in this person's life? Beautiful, perfect. But asking questions like, what's going on with so-and-so and why are they acting this way? It's honestly none of your business. If they're not prepared to tell you up front what's going on with them or what's happening in their lives, obviously they don't want you to know. So don't go sticking your nose in your cards where they don't belong. So have respect and have those boundaries in place. Don't ask the cards what you must do. This comes back to how you're asking the question. Don't hand your responsibility over to the cards. So never ask the cards, what must I do? Must I change my job? Must I buy this car? Must I buy this house? Rather ask, if I purchase this house, what could that potentially bring for me? What opportunities would it open up for me? What challenges might come from the purchase of this house? So expand the reading out from there, but saying, must I buy this house? No. Okay. You also want to have a look at questions of time. So I've already touched a little bit on the predictive side when how the question is asked, and you want to keep your questions in the present moment. So essentially, you don't want to ask questions about time. You don't want to ask the question, when am I going to get the new job? When am I going to meet my soulmate? When? Don't ask the question of when. Rather, why? Why haven't I met my soulmate yet? What's holding me back from buying that car? Reform your questions because, like I say, we create our futures in the present moment. And also the ability for prediction and foresight is a unique gift given to very specific people. It's not something that all of us have. If you are someone who has the gift, by all means, do the predictive stuff, ask the question of when. But 9 times out of 10, you don't have the gift and you're probably going to lead yourself to disappointment. You're going to create a whole lot of false expectations and you don't want that from the cards because it's going to create an unhealthy relationship between you and your cards. So avoid questions that are very time specific. When do I need to apply for this? When should I do this? When should I do that? Never ask the question when. And then the last thing, yes/no based questions. There is a technique, or there's a couple of different techniques that you can do for asking yes/no based questions. But ideally, the tarot is so expansive and so insightful that to use it for something as simple as a yes/no based question, you're doing yourself a bit of a disservice. So keep your yes/no based questions for something like a pendulum that is a tool that's aligned for yes/no type questions. If you do really want to use the tarot for a yes/no question, you draw 2 cards, one to represent yes, one to represent no. Your higher ranking card is your answer. So you ask the question and you have an Ace of Pentacles in the yes position, and you have the 3 of Swords in the no position. It's a no because your 3 of Swords would outrank your Ace. But like I said, use the right tools for the right things. So if it's yes/no based, work with the pendulum. You can, inside a reading, have your cards. And if there's something you want clarity on that's a yes/no question, pull out a pendulum, ask the question. Working with multiple tools inside a reading is really, really beautiful and quite powerful and impactful in your readings. So some ideas of questions that you can ask. Where am I on my path? What should I be aware of? This question you can expand onto what should I be aware of in my career? What should I be aware of in my relationship? What should I be aware of in dealing with this person? What should I be aware of in my business? How can I better understand? What a cool question. How can I better understand myself? How can I better understand this person? How can I better understand my boss who I really struggle with? What am I not considering? What am I not considering in purchasing this house? What am I not considering in taking that job? How can I better this? Also, a really great question. Asking the tarot, how can you be better? You don't get better than that. How can I be better at my career? How can I be better at being a better friend? How can I be better in general? How can I be of service? Also a really beautiful question. How can I be of service in my community? How can I be of service in my relationships? How can I be of service in my friendships? How can I just be of service in general? What potential do I have? What potential do I have in furthering my studies? What potential do I have in climbing the corporate ladder at work? What potential do I have in pursuing this relationship with this person? What's the lesson? Also a really, really great question to ask. What's the lesson in this situation? What's the lesson in me having this experience? How can I achieve? How can I achieve the goals that I've set? How can I achieve the promotion that I'm aiming for? How can I achieve in purchasing that car or that house? What is my purpose? Probably one of the best questions to ask of your cards. And if you've watched my video on working with the structure of the tarot, you want to use your major arcanas for that question specifically. So, but you can also break that down to, what is my purpose in this relationship? What is my purpose in the career that I've chosen? Also, what purpose do I serve in the career that I've chosen? What do I need right now? I think that's probably one of the nicest questions to ask yourself on a daily basis with your cards. Whether you're drawing a tarot card or an oracle card, starting your day with, what do I need right now? What do I need today? That's a really beautiful way to start your mojo going. And then, of course, where can I find fulfillment? I will share a copy of this in the post so that you can reference it. And as you can see, you can take them and you can expand them out into pretty much any category. So remember, how your question is asked is important. Remembering what you can ask and remembering what you can't ask. These are the things that are going to help you formulate better questions for your tarot. I hope that's helpful for you.